Another broad category that we can use to organize those challenges faced by Caribbean countries is the use of technology. Let's look at how inadequate technology in the region could be hampering our development. It is now a universally known fact that up-to-date technology is needed for innovation and for new methods of production to be created. Unfortunately, many Caribbean territories have not invested in upgrading the technology used in various sectors, whether it be the education sector, the agricultural sector, or manufacturing sector. Many of our methods are outdated. Additionally, a World Bank report in 2009 acknowledged the link between access to internet service and mobile phone systems and a country's ability to pursue economic development and job creation. In other words, countries where a large part of the population lack access to the internet and mobile phone systems are less able generally to pursue economic development and job creation. Let's look at this lack of technology and how it may be impacting us negatively in two areas. Firstly, we can look at the example of technological challenges in education. Are you familiar with robotics and coding in Caribbean secondary schools? Probably not. There are few secondary schools in the region with robotics and coding labs. If students are not taught how to do these things, then how can we be expected as a region to have one of the world's leading robotic industries? The technology is needed. A second example could be technological challenges in agriculture. To what extent do we integrate science and technology on our region's farms? The inclusion of technology could mean that more machines are used to complete tasks that humans previously did. And it could also mean that we invest in labs that aim to produce crops with higher yields or that are more disease resistant. In any event, the region is not likely to become known as one of the world's largest exporters of any agricultural product without the incorporation of technology into our agricultural sector. Another general category that we can look at is that of labor force issues. Obviously, we need to look at unemployment and underemployment as labor force issues. Firstly, we need to recap what each of these words mean. Unemployment means that there are people who are willing and able to work, but they cannot find a job. Unemployment is bad for any country because it means that part of human resource is not being utilized, and it can lead to other social issues like crime. A large part of the unemployment that we experience in the region today is structural and occurred because of the change from agriculture to tourism as the main supporter of jobs in our countries. If you'd like more information on unemployment and types of unemployment, I have a video on that you can see. Underemployment occurs when people are working part-time or they're employed in jobs that do not match their economic needs. For example, the job pays less than they need to survive, or the job doesn't match their skills or qualifications, like this guy. High levels of unemployment and underemployment have tended to lead to massive brain drain in the region. Brain drain occurs when those young and economically active members of the population decide to leave the country to go work and live somewhere else. Somewhere they feel more valued, they're more likely to get a job, and they're more likely to get a job that matches their skills and qualifications. A second labor force issue that we experience is a shortage of skilled workers. High rates of illiteracy and the lack of basic skills among the population limits the choices for employment. There are only so many types of jobs that someone who is illiterate and lacks basic computer skills can apply for and be hired for. Investment in education is also important to produce skilled workers from the country. In general, and I do mean in general because I realize that there are specific instances where this does not apply in the Caribbean, but in general, Caribbean governments tend to finance the education costs up until secondary education, and if citizens wish to pursue further professional studies, research studies, or even technical studies in some cases, they have to foot the bill themselves. Typically, the cost of attendance for programs like these is higher than the average Caribbean person can afford, and so that leaves us with a human resource that is not as trained and qualified as it could be. This is important because businesses who wish to set up in the region would scrutinize the average skill set among the country's population. A business owner doesn't want to have to bring in his business and set it up and then also have to bear the cost of training everyone to work in the business. India is a great example of this. The country has several training schools for technology and electronics. They're known for their coding, programming, software development, and even electronics assembly. And so if an electronic business wanted to expand its operations, they're likely to start in India because they're likely to find a labor force that has the skills to work in the industry already.